Good evening and welcome to my channel. This is story number 42 in the sequence, believe it or not, which is a very auspicious number for any of those who are into Douglas Adams. Whether or not this has got any Douglas Adams aspect to it, yeah, it's not really. Anyway, it is based as ever on 5 random words, and these are... and this story is called Running Coyote and Fallen Star. Leopold Wainwright III, lifelong off-grid eccentric and illegal distiller of unreasonably strong spirits, woke to the sound of his front door being mercilessly assaulted. It must be early. Duke the rooster had not yet crowed in that insistent way that sent Leo lurching downstairs with momentarily murderous intent, particularly on mornings after sampling a new batch of moonshine. He tore open his front door and shouted at the trespassers, who were triply indistinct because Leo couldn't find his spectacles, was hungover, and the screen door pixelated everything. "Who in Satan's name are you? What are you doing on my porch?" 2 figures, both slender and petite. Women? "Mister, please, you've got to let us in. We ran out of gas." Leo wasn't falling for that. 9 months previously, Mrs. Gantry, who ran the pet store in town, was robbed at knife point after she took pity on a drifter with an empty guitar case he quickly filled with all her valuables, precious little as it happened, so he took her head too. "I have a loaded shotgun and I don't see well enough to just wing you," he replied. Leo heard a vehicle approaching along the dirt track that led up from the highway. Given his deliberately remote location, Leo knew the second car was unlikely to betoken anything good. "Round the back so I can get a look at you," Leo ordered, grabbing the shotgun he kept by the door, which hadn't fired properly for several years. The mystery couple raced around the building as the approaching car skidded to a halt. Leo squinted through the back door spy hole and saw 2 dishevelled women, one with bright blue hair, the other sporting a nose ring and a fierce expression. They looked like bad news, but the sudden rap upon the front door sounded worse. The dark-haired woman, who looked half Native American, was cradling something in her arms. A baby? Might be a scam, thought Leo, a doll swaddled to elicit sympathy. "Please, we need somewhere to hide. The feds want to take my baby." Leo shuttled through a series of assumptions and counter-assumptions. He was fiercely anti-establishment. Plus the woman's story was so peculiar it might just be true. "FBI, let us in." The tone and mandatory warning were familiar. Leo had just seconds to act. He opened the back door on its chain. The women were scarcely in their 20s, desperate and afraid. "Lean-to out back. Take a couple of jars, fill your tank. Now, run." The door burst in behind Leo as he heard the fugitives race away. Running Coyote made it to the sheds first, with the baby held firmly to her chest. Melanie limped behind her, wondering how her day had gone so badly wrong. A social worker who'd come on a routine evening call to visit single mum Coyote. She'd taken one look at the baby and had known that the hysterical story the Native American had told her might just be true. They'd driven through the night before the feds had caught up with them. Coyote pulled open the first door, revealing a cloud of flies and a stench that was far from sanitary. The John. She gagged and joined Mel as she entered the larger shed, which was dank and dark. There must be cans of gasoline somewhere. Mel found a switch. A dim bulb flickered on. The lean-to contained only a homemade still and a shelf of demijohns full of clear liquid. The air was thick with the ferment of mashed barley. Mel unplugged a jar and recoiled at the smell of 80-proof alcohol. "Jeez, man, this'll blind you." Coyote looked panicky, her baby growing restless, gurgling slightly. "There's no gas, is there? He tricked us," she said, wondering why Mel was smiling. "Nope," said Mel, holding out a hammer and a 6-inch nail. "Can you get to their vehicle unseen if I take the kid?" Now it was Coyote's turn to run the risks. She nodded, handing Fallen Star over. Raised voices issued from the shack. It wouldn't be long before the feds checked out the outhouses. Coyote used the skills her grandfather had taught her, dashing with grace and speed between red rocky outcrops until only a 20-yard sprint stood between her and the Fed's black sedan. A whirl of wind-blown dust provided the necessary cover. Moments later, she crouched behind the car, took a deep breath and drove the nail into the tyre. It burst with a low pop, and Coyote raced to her own car, a ramshackle 1972 Oldsmobile, where Mel was emptying a second demijohn into the tank. "Will this work?" Coyote hissed, climbing behind the wheel as Mel tossed the jar aside and slid into the passenger seat, holding firmly onto Fallen Star, who was mewling softly. Coyote gunned the engine, which spluttered inconclusively. The front door of the shack opened and two impressively tall men in dark suits emerged, eyes shaded behind standard-issue Ray-Bans. "Stop where you are!" shouted one, raising his gun. Coyote turned the key again. The starter struggled, then the engine abruptly rumbled into life. A warning shot blasted over their heads. "They won't risk harming him," Mel reassured Coyote as she spanned the Oldsmobile, throwing up a spiral of dust. The feds had jumped into their own vehicle. "They'd better fucking not," hissed Coyote as they tore away down the track through the baked red brutality of the Utah badlands. Growing restless in Mel's arms was the beautiful, strange hybrid Coyote had brought into the world, his wings struggling to unfurl, his green lizard eyes alive with intelligence, his voice like the music of distant nebulae, not crying so much as singing his frustration. Mel turned to see the Fed's car skid as it skittered three-wheeled behind them, losing pace. They would make it to the border, where their strange little family could spread its wings. Fallen Star, literally. Evolution couldn't be stopped. Love would have its way. There you have it. This story feels a bit like the beginning of something, or perhaps chapter 2 of something. Because there's definitely more to be said about these two and the baby and the people chasing them that I suspect are not FBI, but something else. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please subscribe, share, watch again, watch something else. Generally spread the word. I will keep doing this because I literally cannot be stopped. And I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you soon. Bye.